Let's talk about the vital sign that no one is tracking, but every woman in business should be: your sex drive. Not just for fun, not just for the benefit of your partner, but as a powerful physiological indicator of how well you're living, leading, and receiving. Because your libido isn't random. It's not just hormonal. It is the clearest, most visceral signal your body gives you about how alive you feel, how in tune you are with your pleasure, power, and presence. And when it flatlines, your creativity dims, your conviction wavers, and your cash flow dries up. It's just as essential as your pulse, your blood pressure, or your menstrual cycle. If your sex drive has slipped, stalled, or feels like a distant memory, but you know there's more available to you, this episode is more than a permission slip. It's a full throttle, full body activation. Let's go. All right, so your libido is more than just a nice to have. It's not superfluous. It's not indulgent. It is your sixth vital sign. Yep, I'm calling it. I believe your desire, your interest in sex, your arousal, your capacity to feel turned on isn't just about your relationship or bedroom satisfaction. It is the clearest, most uncensored barometer of your aliveness, your health, and your business vitality. Oh, that's the edge. Today, I'm going to tell you why. So, most of us have been taught that libido is this hormonal mystery, that it's this fluctuating bonus that we get in maybe 2 peaks of the month if we have an unmedicated menstrual cycle, how when we get stressed, it goes low, when we get in fear, it turns off. And all of that has a lot of truth to it. But in reality, your libido is deeply influenced by your nervous system, your energy levels, your sense of safety, and your relationship to yourself. Now, a lot of us listening know that in 2017, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists named the menstrual cycle and menstrual health as the fifth vital sign. That was huge at the time. I remember that call being made, and so many of us celebrated. And there's books about it and podcasts about it. I want to take it a step further. Your libido is the sixth vital sign, because when your libido is MIA, when desire feels distant and when pleasure feels out of reach, this is so much more than sex. It's about your access to your life force energy, and it's a signal that your system is depleted, dysregulated, disconnected, or all of the above. And in contrast, when your libido is on fire, when your desire is present, and when you feel connected to your erotic self, you're magnetic, you're lit up, you're creative, you're powerful, you're unstoppable, and you're primed to make shit tons of profit in your business. Speaking of business, let's go there. When women come to me, they're stuck in a certain level of revenue. They're in a plateau, right? Their launches aren't converting, their content feels flat. Something that used to work isn't working anymore. Or what's really common that I see with my clients is they had a surge of fresh energy come through in the last 3 years or so, and they're still trying to ride the same wave. What they're coming to realize is that original wave that created that surge that really grew their business, it's already come crashing. And they need to find a fresh wave to ride now. That new wave is still going to bring the foundational pieces with it, but they need a new edge. They've simply outgrown what it was that they learnt from the surge that they had a few years ago. And now it's time for the next layer, or should I say the deepest layer, because your sexuality and your erotic self is the deepest place that you can go. The women that I work with and the women that get the most incredible results, they start off fully up here, up in their head, orchestrating everything from a place of logic and asking, does this make sense? And will this work? Will this be quote unquote successful? And really thinking about those quantitative metrics of success that so many of us have grown up being conditioned to value more than anything. To take all of those quantitative metrics really seriously because they hold all the weight. In the meantime, she's lost touch with the qualitative metrics of success. How she feels towards her clients, how satisfied she is, whether the money that comes through feels good or whether it feels really restrictive or has her leaving feeling boxed in to certain offers implicating a certain kind of client. So while she's telling me all about her business, what I'm doing is reading her body. And this is one of my secret skills, is I can read bodies really, really quickly. And it's almost like X-ray vision. She's telling me about her business. I'm using my X-ray vision to read her body, to take in the information of what she isn't putting forward. Because it's that information as well that tells me exactly where contraction has a stronghold on the parts of her body that yearn to be fully expressed, but can't right now because they're absolutely burdened with judgment, with guilt, and the darkest, deepest of them all, the shame. It's in that conversation that I ask her what no other business mentor has probably asked her, which is, how's your libido? How would you describe it? What's your relationship to it? What's your sense of satisfaction with what happens in the bedroom? Are you interested in what happens in the bedroom? Do you self-pleasure? Are you able to look at your body in the mirror? When you do, what do you see back? And it's from that unfolding of her eroticism and her sensuality and sexuality that I get really deep insights into what's holding her back in her business. Because what's showing up in sex and the bedroom is undoubtedly showing up somewhere in her business, and it's causing this sense of plateau because her life force hasn't been given the nourishment and the release and the full spectrum expression it's looking for. And when it doesn't get that, it tries to get your attention elsewhere. And it's often in an undesirable way. It holds your desire back and creates this other problem that feels sometimes insurmountable, so that you start to look to it in ways that you haven't before. And when a woman's libido feels held back or blocked, it also shows where she's not able to fully receive. When you've been disconnected from your pleasure, when you're outsourcing your energy to clients, when you're pouring everything into children, household, team, partner, there can be very little left for you. And this is where we reverse everything around. We ensure that your vitality is given top priority because it's going to get higher quality output from everything that you're pouring into. And doing this for your life, your bedroom, and your business makes all three unrecognizable. You're no longer holding back when it comes to your pricing and getting overconsumed with what will people think and getting worried about things and getting overly concerned for people. When you come to your most erotic, sovereign self and you really nurture it, what you go out and do from that place is you start to see people radically differently. When you go to this part of you, you want others to access it too. And instead of keeping them at the level they're at or placating them in order to keep them comfortable, you've done this deep, uncomfortable work. You've met these new edges in yourself. And when you go out to your clients and your constituents and your collaborators, you want them to have their own version of that. And instead of keeping them where they are, you invite them up, and it's exhilarating. One of the compliments that I get from women just before they become clients, just before they decide to say yes to themselves, is it's the way that you speak and it's the way that you hold the conversation with me. And I get it. Because from here, I'm looking at you in the highest regard, and I'm seeing your libido as your sixth vital sign. And it's because I see women as the highest version of themselves, even if they're not embodying that right now. I'm seeing what will actualize when they do things radically differently, when they dare to go all in on their libido, their sexuality, their sensuality, and their eroticism. That's what I see in every conversation that I have with women before they become clients. And when you do this for yourself, you're going to see people through the same lens, and it rocks your world because you end up taking this deep, loving responsibility for yourself and using the power of expectancy that other people are going to do the same. The way that you speak to them, the way that you hold your energy, the way that you are in your presence in a conversation is going to convey to people very quickly that they can feel safe in themselves because you feel safe in yourself. And going to your sixth vital sign, your libido, yes, it's about your health. Yes, it's about your well-being. Yes, it's about your relationship with your partner. But what it's really, really, really about is your relationship with receiving, your ability to receive, how much you allow yourself to receive. And when your libido feels blocked, when it feels lost, when you feel disconnected to it, your ability to receive can be really skewed. It can feel highly uncomfortable. And as I mentioned before, that there can be that overcompensation into giving. Beyond it being a reflection of your nervous system, your health, your well-being, when you go all in, it also shows us so clearly what your relationship is like to receiving. And that includes receiving money. Let's go back to those qualitative indicators of success. What if, and this is a pretty wild proposition, what if you started to track the data of how you feel in your libido, how often you express yourself sexually, and you have full license to interpret that how you will? What if you started to track how you got into your erotic body and looked at what happened in your business? Like, would you be willing to experiment in that way in order to see clear as day the data that you go into your qualitative experience of your body and your pleasure and your sensuality, and to see how it translates to hard quantitative data. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to give this a go? I invite you, I dare you to do this as an experiment to see how successful you can be in the traditional version from doing things that bring you pleasure, especially in a sexual or sensual sense, to really take it from, I'm going to treat myself with this object, to I am going to indulge in the pleasure currents that are in my body, but I'm not feeling because I'm not doing my bit to evoke them. That's what I'm talking about. You don't even need to buy anything to do this. You just need to have a willingness and oodles of curiosity to see what could change for you when you go to your sexuality, your sixth vital sign, and to see how it shifts your profit and your sense of satisfaction and success in your business. In fact, I do this on a regular basis. What I do is I come into my body and I do my own practice, and I call it pleasure to profit. And I invite myself to go as deep as I can into the pleasure currents in my body, and to then do pitches and proposals from that place. If you've ever pitched or done a proposal, and I'm really talking about good 5-figure pitches here, if you've ever done one from a place of just being in your head and just going, I think this will work, or this sounds good, or I think they'll be impressed by this, that has its place, right? What if you could close the gap on your pitches and proposals being accepted by going into your body first, reviewing it through the lens of, I've just been in my erotic power. What does this look like to me? How does this feel to me? And then sending it out into the world. Is that just the wildest idea ever? It's not. But admittedly, it's got an edge to it. And this could well be the difference between your 5-figure proposal being accepted or not. What if you acknowledged your sixth vital sign as the life force, the lifeblood of your business, and how this force, this drive, has the capacity to close the gap on your conversions? That's what I'm putting forward to you. We're talking about a practice that goes beyond taking a bubble bath, buying a sex toy, or going on a scheduled date night with your partner. That just feels really constrained and pressured. We've all been there. This, what I'm putting to you right now, is about reclaiming your erotic energy as fuel for your business. This is about recognizing when you feel better than good in your body. Good's just our starting point. We're talking about bliss. We're talking about ecstasy. We are talking about the ultimate release. When you're turned on for your life, when you stop waiting for everything to be perfect, when you stop thinking that when the money comes, then you'll be able to be more present with them, then you'll be able to let go. When you flip it and reverse it and go into your eroticism first, put your sixth vital sign on a pedestal, that's when the money flows. That's when the intimacy deepens. That's when your conviction returns, because you've got a pulse again. A pulse that is so much more than just keeping you alive. A pulse that gets everything moving in your favor. You don't have to force more from here. You need to feel more from your body. So if you're sitting here thinking, yes, this is all well and good, I get it from my head, but I don't know how to translate that into a tangible real life experience, I have got you. Well and truly, because I've created something that is short, simple, and satisfying. It's called Pleasure to Profit, and it is the free 10-minute pleasure-led power activation that shifts you out of your head and into your body, where wealth actually flows from. In just 10 minutes, you'll get out of your head and into your body because your body knows what your mind has simply forgotten. You will awaken your power center and melt the tension that's restricting your money flow. And you'll shift your frequency into pleasure instantly, so you feel more alive, more open, and wildly magnetic, ready to press send on your biggest proposal to date, because you're ready to claim both the pleasure and the profit without apology. Go to laurenwhite.com.au/activation to get instant access to Pleasure to Profit.